Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of PB Ballers. Today I am joined by two very special guests, my caballeros from down south. How's that Spanish pronunciation? Connor and Jack from Deadball TV. Welcome to the channel. How we doing, fellas?
We doing. We making it through.
We doing? Ooh.
Sunday night,
Sunday scaries are hitting hard. It is what it is.
Yeah,
guys.
swamped editing right now.
Yeah, Jack and Connor were nice enough to jump on the pod because we're gonna discuss the ultimate Copa America prediction preview. It's gonna be a packed summer, guys. I know we got the Euros, but over in North America, we got a pretty big tournament. I'd say it's probably like an appetizer to the World Cup, a preview for that. Pretty simple. What we're gonna do is gonna go through each of the groups, give our predictions, some of our reasons, and then at the end of the video, we'll give you our winners for this tournament. But for a little background info, guys, I mean, I know some of our viewers might not know you. Can you guys give a little introduction into your South American connection? Because you guys aren't just Americans; you guys are parts of two different cultures.
We are. What
Yeah.
That was excellently phrased, I will say. Jack, you want to take point on this one, or should I? You know what? I'll take point on this one since Jack's holding his tongue. Jack is clearly ethnically ambiguous here, right? He's been called an Uzbek. He's been called Japanese. He's been called Georgian. I call him douchebag.
George.
But I am clearly white, right? I'll let Jack explain his... Say what? Say that again?
I said you forgot Italian, but I guess it's the same as douchebag.
Italian?
I don't know why
the
Italian's
more.
caught astray here. Yeah. I'm just half Korean to every Latina that I talk to.
Your ethnic ambiguity, Jack.
Yes.
Lead us in.
Are we talking about like my bloodline or like why I'm so passionate about covering the Copa America on Deadball? Or both?
Well, it's both, though. It's both.
Yeah, so my mother's side of the family hails from Spain and Mexico, so I have a deep, passionate fandom for the Mexican national team. Those are my boys. That's who I ride for. My vitriol for the U.S. men's national team grows by the day, and it's a great counterweight to Connor and Jake, who typically fanboy over the U.S. Well, Jake isn't fanboy for anybody, but Connor fanboys for the U.S., and, I got to bring him down to earth sometimes.
I have loyalty to the U.S. because, yes, I was born here, raised here. I am very obviously gringo, güerito. But my dad's side of the family is Argentine. I don't know if you can tell by the 3 Argentina jerseys that I have behind me. I have 3 other ones hanging up next to it, and 2 are in the wash. So, yeah, my dad, I think my grandparents immigrated over here right before the junta in like 68 or something like that. Just before things went south, had my dad. I'm half second generation American, if you want to get technical with it. Pero sí, argentino hasta la sangre, adentro de la sangre. But yeah, I've been riding with them for a long time. I did not see a single trophy until Copa America, so I was there through all of the bad. Which I guess is more potent than, falling in love with the winning side. Big Boca Juniors guy. My vitriol for River grows by the day, and I'm learning a slow respect for the Mexican national team. Contrary to Jack.
Well, that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
We'll see
I mean, I don't know if you guys heard that Spanish accent just now, but I mean, compared to most American kids, like that was perfect, right? Wasn't it, Jack?
Connor's completely.
Or Connor?
Fluent. Don't let him.
I'm fluent, but the accent wanes. I'd be around too many gringos up here,
It's all right. I mean, it happens. That's the same with my Korean. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, guys, these guys are like the ultimate experts when it comes to CONCACAF and CONMEBOL. So, I mean, yeah, we're not. I didn't get just like 2 random Americans off the street. So, trust me.
We're certified.
Yes.
We got the cards.
Yes,
we have the cards.
So, Group A. All right, So, Group A. The 4 teams in Group A are going to be Argentina, obviously the World Cup champions, led by Lionel Messi. The second team in that group is going to be Peru. Number 3 is Chile, and number 4 is Canada. Don't care who starts. Gentlemen, before you give me your predictions, just overall impressions of Group A.
Top heavy as hell. A lot of deadwood. A lot of flux outside of Argentina. A lot of unpredictability outside of Argentina. And second is completely up for grabs.
I heavily disagree with second being completely up for grabs, but it is going to be a little bit of a dogfight. Second is there's a lot of parity there. Yes, there are two, in my opinion, there are two clear teams that are going to advance, and yeah, a lot of deadwood. A lot of deadwood. The wild card in this group for me is Canada.
Correct.
This group will play out entirely dependent on how Canada decides to show up. 100%.
Yes. 100%. Canada will either put respect on CONCACAF or flop like they did at the World Cup and remain a banter national team.
Well, yeah, speaking of Canada, so they basically didn't have a manager for like, I don't know, months, right?
Months.
Yeah. Herdman resigned, said the FA is basically useless, can't pay their players. And then
which they can.
Right. And then he went over to, I think, Toronto instead of coaching the MLS. Now, Canada did hire someone, your boy, Jesse Marsh. I see Connor just like closing his eyes and meditating. Oh yeah, so I know Jesse almost became the head coach of South Korea, and then he took the Canada job. Guys, like, honest opinions on Jesse taking that job and how we think he's gonna do.
I'm gonna say the appointment was so overhated, it was ridiculous. It's the best manager Canada could ever get. It's a great test for Jesse Marsh, who needs to rebuild some credibility, quite frankly. I think it's an upgrade over Biello, who's going to remain as an assistant coach. And I think the personnel of Canada, which is very, outside of the back line, very young, very athletic. They have a lot of workhorses in that team. I think it's fantastic for Canada's pressing style system that Jesse Marsh is probably going to implement. Now, he hasn't played a game yet, so we don't know. And I think his first two games are Netherlands and France. So let's not read too much into how those games go. That's a tough debut for Ancelotti, let alone, Jesse Marsh. But I'm more bullish on Canada now with Jesse Marsh than with Biello, 100%. 100%.
I would agree. Over Biello, I think I can wholeheartedly agree there. Do I love the Jesse Marsh appointment? No. But Jack raises some really good points. Like, who else can they get that of managers that are available that they could get? Yeah, I think both of them are looking for a redemption arc. And so that pairs them pretty well out of necessity. And sometimes that's what you need. Because, I mean, who else is Canada going to get if they can't pay their players? How are they going to pay their coach? Jesse Marsh, would he have been a good Korean coach? I think that's a discussion for. I mean, we can dive deep into that one if we want, but I think that he's been doing some. That might be part two. He's been doing some punditry here in the United States, and I think he very much wants to continue that. So he wants to stay close to home. He wants to stick around nearby so that he's available to do that. Maybe stay closer to family. He's able to live at home and fly up for camps more readily. Yeah. Whereas, as we saw in the case with Jurgen Klinsmann, you want a national team manager who's there, who's willing to live there. You deserve that. That's like the minimum expectation. So even if it's not year round, like, you want like 9-10 months out of the year. But
dude, for sure. And it's not a big ask, bro. Like, I'm telling y'all right now, the K-League hit up Deadball TV and said, we want y'all to cover. We're going to pay you, I don't know what a competitive Korean salary is. We're going to give you $250K each to come over here, and y'all going to cover the K-League. Dude, I'd move to Seoul. I'd move to Busan, Jeju Island. Where do you want me? Like, we're pulling up 100%. We're not going to be streaming K-League from Houston, Texas. So the fact that Jesse Marsh and Klinsmann had a problem with that, I have a problem with that mentality. And I'm waiting on the Korean offer to show up in the mail, quite frankly. So, Albert, if you can pull some strings there.
The inboxes are open,
No. Yeah. We plotted for 2034. We'll be there in Saudi. We'll be on the bench there. Okay. Yes. We'll be like 34. So that's a good age.
34
We will be
right there,
reporting on
yeah.
Al Hilal.
Yeah,
Yep.
little
That'll
sweet
be
sweet
good.
spot. Yeah, before 40. But
Son will be in the coaching staff.
I was reading about Jesse, and I think that, like Connor said, he was working as a pundit for, was it the CBS guys or Fox? One of those bigger channels.
I think it was
CBS, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
CBS.
CBS, right? And I remember him saying in an interview that he and his wife had relocated to Italy for a bit, like the Italian like countryside or an Italian city. And then I know he
Wow.
has like, yeah, I know he has like 3-4 kids. A few of them are living in North America, I believe, going to university or working. So I mean, it makes sense. Like the border from Canada to the States, not that far. He gets to spend time in North America. But I mean, I don't know, guys. The Canadian team was just so disappointing at the World Cup. Do they have talent? Yes. But I guess in comparison, because I've watched a lot of your videos, and you talk about how down bad Peru are. I'm going to assume they were the Deadwood team you were referring to, maybe.
100%.
100%.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
it is beyond reproach.
Mm.
Like
Mhm.
Canada has some bright spots at the very least. They've got talent. They've got a world-class player in Alphonso Davies. I think Jack and I both really rate Estaquiao. And Jonathan David is nothing less than the best striker in CONCACAF.
I agree.
Correct.
As
You're
any
enlightened.
rational, as any rational, enlightened man would. But Peru, I mean, just going into it, we're doing a series on our channel where we go through the best defenses, best midfields, best forwards, forwards will be coming out, or front three will be coming out next week, or attacking talent will be coming out next week. But dude, going through Peru, Jack and I are both Peru fans. Loved Peru, loved watching them make it to the finals of Copa America and unfortunately go out against Brazil, but that run was fantastic. Both of us are huge Gareca fans, which if you don't know, Gareca is the ex-coach of Peru.
Dude got
South
some nice
American.
hair.
Dude, he's got the flow.
Mane.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He's fantastic coach, but he left Peru and he took every bright spot with him. Like there's seemingly no light at the end of the tunnel for this team. They really do not have much to offer, and I cannot reasonably see them doing well at this Copa. Like there's no rationale. There's no support for that.
No, we can literally keep the Peru positives to like one sentence, or like the bold case for Peru, if you want to argue, is that it is a Copa America, a tournament at which they have performed well in the past, and they just are enhanced spiritually due to the occasion and play better than they played since 2021. That's the bull case right there. Is a completely paranormal event that leads Peru to play better than they've played. Other than that, there's nothing. Like Connor mentioned our rankings. I think we had Peru's defense is like 11. But that midfield and that attack, I mean, it's bottom 2 at the Copa America in both categories. It's horrendous. So I think Canada is better than Peru.
Yeah.
And I think that they'll be battling Chile, Ricardo Gareca's new destination, for that second place spot.
Yeah, I was looking at the current standings for the World Cup qualifiers in 2026. Guys, I don't think Peru's going to qualify to the World Cup, given their current state.
They won't.
It is not looking good. They will not.
No.
Is it more of a... I'm curious. When I look at the Peruvians, like they qualified in 2018, they almost made it to Qatar. Lost on penalties to Aussies. Is it more of a like a generational shift where there's just not a lot of good players in the next generation, or do you guys think it's like a combination of that and like their infrastructure not being so good?
It's a combination, but I would say probably 80% of it, 80 to 85% of it was Gareca. Gareca is the type of manager that you bring in for a long time. He's like what he did the Bielsa project that Bielsa's working on in Uruguay, which we'll get to them. But he started that style of project a long time ago. A long time ago. That's what he does. He wants to know about the youth programs. He wants to know about up-and-coming players. He wants to bring young guys into the squad. I mean, frankly, I think he'd be an excellent South Korean coach.
Yeah.
He likes tenure. He likes to have the control. He likes to know what he's working with, and he brings infrastructure. You're going my way or the highway. right? We will not call you up. For example, he didn't call up Brereton Diaz for Chile because Brereton is not fluent in Spanish, at least not to the standards that Gareca would like him to be. And that's just how he operates. He's going to leave out a star player if you don't fit the team dynamic, which is why he was able to get Peru firing so well. Like, let's not talk about talent because it's not like they had a crazy amount of talent when Gareca was there. It's just the style of play and the coaching. These guys are drilled to play as a team. And, dude, looking at Chile now, where Gareca is, it's looking like he's the truth. It's looking like it's going to work out exactly like it did with Peru. They're playing more than the sum of their parts. And what does that tell you about Peru? It tells you that they're in the mud, that there's really no shining light at the end of the tunnel because they don't have the money. Gareca took all of the infrastructure with him, the entire coaching staff, all of the people that could support there. They went with him, you know? He's gone. So what does Peru have? They've got a prayer. They've got South American tenure, is what you could say. CONMEBOL tenure, Copa America tenure, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at we can talk about Chile now. I'm looking at their team, and it looks like they're still relying on some guys who have been playing since we were in high school. I see they called up Gladio Bravo. Mauricio Isla is still there. Alexis Sanchez is called up. So it's not like they exactly have had some kind of youth movement, but like you said, gentlemen, it seems like given that Gareca factor, it could be enough for them to fight for second in this group with Canada.
I think so for sure. I think Chile right now is their old generation is kind of funky because they do have the super old Bravo, Isla, Medel, who are 36 plus, right? But then they have the guys who were there before, but they're still not hella old. Like Pulgar Valdez is not young, but he's still kind of new to the team. You got oh gosh, what's my guy's name? Vargas up top. Did I already say him?
No, no, you didn't mention him. Yeah, he's 34.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then they have a mix of these kind of promising new guys, Osorio, Nunez from Norwich City. So there's Vachinovsky from Club America, another pretty young CB, new to the team as well. So I think Gareca's trying to do what he can in terms of introducing the new guys. It's just the Chilean talent pool isn't phenomenal. Chilean club football is not good. So it's another big ask from Gareca. But, fortunately for him, the team that he most has to worry about is Canada, who are coming in with a new manager and have no Copa experience. So I think it's very even because I think talent-wise, I think Canada probably is a little better on aggregate. And if they're not better, I think it's even. So, man, whoever can go into that game in a better situation, whoever, can just have that moment of class, whether it's, Alexis Sanchez or Alfonso Davies or Jonathan David, it's going to be margins in this game to get that second place. So that's why I think it's open. I don't think Peru have a chance. I would be beyond shocked if Peru advanced to the knockouts here. But I think Chile and Canada, I think it's a coin flip. I really do. Especially with Jesse Marsh now.
All right, then let's give our predictions for how this group's going to turn out. I'll let Connor go first because he's the resident Argentinian. Connor, 1, 2, 3, 4. How you got finishing?
All right, starting at the fourth spot is Argentina. No, I'm playing. Starting at the fourth spot is, I think it's going to be Canada. I think it's going to be Canada. And that's pretty hot, but I think it's going to be Canada. At the third spot, I think I got Peru. And then second spot, Chile. First spot, Argentina. Now, my thoughts, Canada at the bottom. I think I'm really bullish on the Chileans. They're the bad guys of CONMEBOL. If you look at those two Copa Americas that they won, they bulldoze their path to the final, not through sheer brute force, but through dragging the other teams down and making them play to their level. So they've got grit, they've got toughness, they can frustrate other teams. And frankly, I don't think Canada has the mental fortitude to get up for that game. The one game that I think we will see Peru be competitive in is against Chile because they have a historic rivalry, both political and on the pitch, against them. So my thoughts here are that Peru and Chile could come away with the tie, and I don't think Canada comes away with the win.
Okay, I'm going Peru last for sure. I think 1 point at the Copa is a massive dub.
Yeah.
Second, I mean, you might have to ask me again for a final prediction in like 10 days after I see what Jesse Marsh does with his Canada side.
Yeah.
I am going to put Canada third, Chile second, Argentina first. But like I said, I'm going to be deliberating hard if I want Canada in that second spot because they could do it. They can beat Chile. Like, I think Canada are mentally soft. I think the Chileans are battle tested, but I think Canada is better. I think Canada has a system that's already upset team. Like, if Jesse Marsh comes in, does the same thing Herdman did, they'll get second. Because under Herdman, they already beat Mexico. They already beat the United States. They beat Jamaica. They beat Panama. They beat teams that at the time were either on their level or better than them. And I think Chile are on the level or below what Canada is right now. And I think, again, if they can replicate that play style, something the players should know well, I think they'll beat them.
Yeah. I'm looking at the schedule in terms of who plays who first. So Canada has to play Argentina first, and then their second match is against Peru. Last match for Canada is going to be against Chile in Orlando, Florida, which will probably determine who comes out in second. For those our viewers who don't know, this is not going to be like the Euros where like 4 of the 6 best third place teams advance. You have to finish top 2 no matter what. Like, yeah, Jack said, honestly, my prediction could change depending on how Canada look in the pre-Copa friendlies. But I'm going to give them second. So I'm going Argentina, number 1. Gotta respect the GOAT and the world champions. I'll go Canada 2. I'm going to go Chile number 3, and then Peru number 4, only because, Canada's not playing at home necessarily, but I think the Canadian fans will make the trip down to the U.S. to see their boys. They're going to want to come out in full force, especially, like we said, it's a preview for 2026. But again, I can change my mind depending on if Canada look like shit in their friendlies. With Chile, I've always liked them. I kind of liken them to, like, I don't know, maybe like the Hungary of the South America, like, one of those annoying teams that don't go down easy. I don't know if it was one of those Copa runs where Medel like stuck his finger up someone's butthole. I don't know if you remember that.
Cavani's. Yep.
Yeah, he stuck it up Cavani's. He stuck it up Cavani's ass.
It wasn't Medel, but yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Medel. Oh, it was somebody on that team.
No, it was somebody else.
It was
it's Medel. That's I always bring this up, and I'm always like, "Do you remember when Medel did that?" And Jack's like, "It was not Medel. This is."
I'm blanking on the dude's name. It was another defender.
He looks like him. He looks like him.
Was it Jara? Gonzalo Jara, maybe?
Yeah, Gonzalo Jara. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he gave. So they like giving prostate exams, but
Hey, won him a Copa. Uruguay was gonna win that game.
Exactly. So I definitely think that this group has the chance to be probably one of the more physical groups in the entire competition. But the Canadians, I think on paper do have the talent to finish second, but we'll see. But yeah, for now, I'll go Argentina 1, Canada 2, Chile 3, and Peru 4. All right, gentlemen, let's move on then to Group B. I'm going to let Jack take point here. We got Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica. Jack, I know you've had a lot of things to say about the current state of this Mexican national team. What do you think of this group and your boys?
Well, I think it's a very difficult group. I think it's going to be very low scoring, and I would have preferred to have switched spots, honestly, with Chile and had that group. Even though Argentina would probably be an automatic L, I would have much rather liked Mexico's chances against Canada and Peru for that second place. I think Jamaica are kind of screwed. I think they're the team that will finish fourth. They don't do well against CONMEBOL teams. I think this will be their second Copa America. They never won a Copa America game. They never scored at the Copa America. They've got Leon Bailey. We don't even know if he's going to play. A bunch of other players are injured coming in here. I think they're cooked. But I think the Venezuela, Ecuador, Mexico triangle of death is going to be very close. Venezuela is one of those teams that they have an identity, and that really scares me because I don't think Mexico does. I wouldn't be shocked if Ecuador and Venezuela go through and
Yeah.
Mexico and Jamaica go home. I think it's a
Hmm.
very, very real possibility. Estupiñán being out for Ecuador is a massive loss. Massive loss. Before that injury, I would have been saying Ecuador go through with 7. Now, I think that guy is so vital. I kind of think that bumps Ecuador down to 5 points, which I think leaves the rest of the group wide open. It's very competitive. It's the most fair, even group at the Copa, bar none.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail right on the head. I'm very nervous for this group as well. I really like Venezuela. I'm really a big fan of the parity that's happening in CONMEBOL right now. Venezuela is not afraid of anybody. They're playing out of their skin more than the sum of their parts. And like Jack said, they've got an identity. They're very, very scary. Jamaica, I think Jack threw out in one of our videos that Jamaica has just an abysmal record against CONMEBOL teams. Like, what was it? It was 2 victories all time, baby? Or none? It was one of the 2.
They've beaten Uruguay. I think it was like 2010. They beat Uruguay in a friendly.
Yeah.
So it can't be 0. Maybe it was 2. I don't know.
Something like that. The point is, it's absolutely apocalyptic whenever the Jamaicans go up against CONMEBOL opposition. So they're an easy lock at 4. That being
Or
said,
just when the going gets tough, they collapse.
But I did like what I saw from them. Throwing some positives in there. I like what I saw from them against USA last time they met up. So I thought that young squad full of rotation, they played better than I had seen Jamaica play maybe ever. No, not ever, but probably 99% of the time. Better. Bunch of no-names just running around, abusing their athleticism, which is a huge bonus here, right? You're going up against South American opposition that is not that tall, right? They're not as strong as you, so you could abuse that. But speaking of people who are as tall and as strong, Ecuador. Ecuador is excellent. Jack used to love to throw this little curveball in there. Even though Estupiñán is out, they are excellent at set pieces. And there are going to be plenty, if you know Copa America. There's always a foul. There's always something going on. There's always a messy, sticky situation. And, the Ecuadorians are tall and strong, and they can jump. They're fantastic in the air. So I have to give them an edge there. Mexico, I want them to get a personality, and I think Copa would be a great time for them to do so. You know, it's not too little too late just yet. They have a history of wanting to prove something in the Copa America, and they have done so. They have done so. They've had their fair share of runs. So very interesting here.
Yeah. No, this is like one of the groups that is going to be the hardest for anyone to predict. Besides Jamaica finishing first, I think you can make an argument for Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela finishing first in this group, depending on how things shake out. For those who don't know, Venezuela traditionally have been punching bags in World Cup qualifying in South America. I'm talking like the worst team along with Bolivia, probably, always finishing at the bottom of the table. It's a new day for Venezuelan football. They're in 4th place right now. They're most likely going to qualify for 2026. Just a solid team. I think they either beat or tied Brazil recently as well. Not that Brazil are doing well. They tied them, which is huge. So it's a bad group, I think, for especially Jamaica, but also the Mexicans, I think you could say. I mean, speaking of Jamaica, I like the Halgrimson appointment. I think that's the perfect fit in terms of getting their program kind of back on track. Their FA is still quite a bit of a mess, and like Jack said, you can't really trust them. Last time they even made it to a World Cup was back in '98. Reggae Boys had some fire kits, but again, their record against South American opponents is poor. I mean, Ecuador, looking at their team, guys, solid defensively, but not going to be a lot of goals there. I mean, this one's going to be tough, guy. I don't want to harp too much on the location, but this is actually one of the groups that's going to be primarily, most of the games are going to be on the West Coast. Either it's going to be, I see, in Vegas, Arizona, and Santa Clara. So it's going to be home games for the Mexicans. Jack, how much of a disaster is this for Mexico if they get grouped here? I know they got grouped at the World Cup, but is this worse than getting grouped at the World Cup, or will it be expected if Mexico don't make it out?
Oh Jesus! Is it worse than getting grouped at
Yeah.
the World Cup?
I know you'll be pissed, but I'm asking. Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna say it is. I'm gonna say it is
Mm.
because Mexico needed to do more against the opposition at the World Cup. Poland needed to be a better game. It was a disaster. And if not for a Memo Ochoa penalty save, we lose that game. And Saudi Arabia, we had about 37 chances to score a third goal, and we couldn't do it. So I would say this is worse because this group genuinely, I think, is more difficult on a game-to-game basis. Yes, Argentina was probably going to be an L, but the other two games probably should have been dubs. In this game, Mexico is probably only the favorite against Jamaica. Like, I think if you think Mexico is a big favorite against Venezuela, you just haven't been watching CONMEBOL for a long time. And Ecuador were the underdogs. Estupiñán, no Estupiñán, we're underdogs. And I feel like if you go out in a continental tournament in a group stage as Mexico, a team that's made the semifinals 5 times, 5 out of our 10 participations, I think it would be disastrous. But I also think it would mean that either Venezuela or Jamaica, it's going to be Venezuela. Venezuela are legit. That's what it would mean. And they are.
Mm.
Yeah, they're the genuine article, for sure. That being
It
said,
would not be a fluke.
no, it would not. But Mexico does have a great record against Venezuela. I'm looking at my notes here. They haven't lost to Venezuela since '82. So it's been a long time. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen this year. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Mexico's got to get that personality, that play style. It's got to happen now. It's got to happen
We've been
yesterday.
breaking records. Like, we're getting paid to do it. First losses to Canada in World Cup qualifying, going out in the group stage of the World Cup for the first time in 7 editions, losing to the U.S. 3 times in a row for the first time ever. Like, we're on a bad record-breaking streak right now. And we're primed to break that Venezuela 1980s team. And if you think the Venezuelans don't have that date written and goddamn circled on the whiteboard, you tripping. They're going to try to kill us. And they probably
Tis the
will.
season. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Bro, I'm terrified. I actually, my confidence wanes by the day.
You have to win that first match against Jamaica and Houston. Like, you have to. If you get off to a bad start, you're done for the Mexicans, I think.
Absolutely.
No, and they will.
Absolutely.
Houston is a home game for the Mexicans.
Yes. I mean, just to wrap up on Mexico, when I was back in the States last year, I did watch them play in person. I was actually impressed by Lozano and the way he set up against Germany, but it seems after that game, the results haven't been, where they need to be. I like the fact that he probably left Memo Ochoa at home. I think it is time to give the reins to a new keeper, despite me rating Ochoa and loving him. Jack, for Mexico, what is the strongest part of this team, and what's the one part that's going to be their downfall, you think, in this group? And then we'll give our predictions after that.
The downfall is probably going to be depth and squad selection. The midfield is quite weak. Of course, we still have to cut our roster by 5, so I'm not sure who the final midfielders will be, but if we do not bring Jordi Cortizo, who was a late addition to the squad, meaning he only got in because somebody else got hurt, so he probably isn't in the final plans. We don't have an offensive midfielder on the bench, unless you want to go with Oberlin Pineda, and God help us if that's the case. I would say the strongest part of the team has got to be the attack, which is crazy to say because it's only on paper. Only on paper is a Santi Jimenez, Julian Quiñones, Chino Huerta, or maybe a Piojo Alvarado, Uriel Antuna at the front 3 potentially is good. Because there's no Chucky Lozano for the Copa America. It's potentially good. But we've never seen it. Santi doesn't play well with the national team so far. I get in trouble for saying that. Like, him scoring 4 goals in 26 is good. Like, that's like I'm hating if I just say, yeah, he ain't been all that. It's just facts, people. I would say it's either that or our center backs are quite solid. in Cesar Montes and Johan Vasquez. They're quite solid.
Connor, thoughts on Mexico before we go predictions?
I mean, Jack wrapped it up in a little bow there, but I'd say the only additional thing you could say is is the personality. There's no style of play that you can really credit them for. Usually what I like about Mexico is that they can compete. They've got grit. Just historically, they've always got a chip on their shoulder. They want to perform. And they've got a tremendous fan base on a good day. Like the best one in the world, probably, on a good day. On a bad day, they're the worst. Yeah. Very polarizing. But a lot of these games will be at home. So I think they've got that to lean on. They got to find a personality first.
Yeah.
What type of team are you playing as?
I don't know. Maybe this is a rude comparison, but I kind of look at Mexico as like the Dallas Cowboys of North America. Jack, I know you're gonna hate that comparison, but it's like
well, just because I hate the Cowboys, but in terms of the comparison, it's not really off
dude.
at all.
Because growing up in the States, like the Mexican kids, they're ballers. They're better than the American kids, like in terms of talent, the way they play. They have the passion, they have the fan base, they have the support, they have the media attention. It's just when it comes to a World Cup or whatever, they just don't deliver. It's an automatic round of 16 exit. But I think hopefully, I don't know if they'll be good this Copa. I think 2026, I think you will have a bit of a bounce back. It's a long time from now. You better, or else those Mexican fans are gonna destroy the field. But that's another topic. Yeah, they're gonna burn that place down. But all right, this is gonna be a tough one though. I don't know who wants to go first. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. How is this group finishing? This is gonna be a tough one. You want me to go first? Yeah, Connor. Yeah.
All right, word. I'm going Ecuador. Then I'm going Mexico. Then Venezuela, and then Jamaica.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we starting from the top.
Starting from the top. I think I went reverse the last time. So
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go Ecuador, Venezuela, Mexico, Jamaica.
Oh.
I've been changing my tune, dude. I've been changing my tune.
Oh man.
I got no belief.
Oh man, I don't know. I want to pick Mexico. I want to pick Venezuela to go through just because they've been playing so well in the World Cup qualifiers, but Mexico not going through, especially okay. I'm going Ecuador 1. I respect the Ecuadorians and the structure that they have. I think they'll scumbag at least 4 or 5 points, given their defensive structure. Number 2, you know what? Yeah, I'm going Venezuela too. Yeah. I think the pressure of playing in Inglewood, California, and in Houston, Texas, and in Glendale, Arizona, I think could actually work to the Mexicans' detriment. Maybe I'm going full galaxy brain, but I think just the general toxicity surrounding this team for the past 2-3 years, and Jack's been recapping it very well, I think, on your channel, is going to be a catalyst for them not making it out. I think they'll do better in 2026, but yeah, I'm going Ecuador 1, Venezuela 2, Mexico 3, and Jamaica 4. I think this will really be the tournament when the public turns on the Mexican national team, and then they'll probably have a slow descent back up, maybe. Yeah. Or ascent. Sorry, Jack, but I hope I'm wrong because I would love to see the Mexican fans interact with maybe the U.S. or Brazilian fans in the knockout stages, but that's another topic as well. So,
we ain't making it that far.
Yeah, we ain't making it. Okay, all right.
We ain't making
Group
the final.
C. We may have. Well, I mean, I don't know if the U.S. is either, but speaking of the U.S., Group C, gentlemen, United States, the host country, Uruguay led by Marcelo Bielsa, Panama, and then Bolivia. Oh, probably like one of the most intriguing groups on paper.
Group C, man. Bielsa, Uruguay has been off to a flying start. They don't have many games. I think there are 8 that he's had in charge. But they've all been pretty excellent. They've all been pretty excellent. Even in their recent loss, I just cannot overstate the revamping of the Uruguay squad that we're seeing here. And you mentioned Galaxy Brain earlier. Bielsa's going full Galaxy Brain. Like, the dude has the Gareca style where he wants to manage the under 23s, the under 17s, the under 21s. He wants to know everybody. The dude is going like full, like, human computer mode. And it seems to be working. He's revamping the play style. I think a lot of Darwin Nunez's success in this Premier League season has to do with conversations that he had with Bielsa and just getting his confidence where it needs to be. In addition to being a fantastic tactician, I think that Bielsa is a wonderful man manager. And yeah, they're dominant. They've got an excellent team-based play style with superstars just padded in there. They've got, in my opinion, the second best midfield at Copa America. They're fantastic. Their record with Bielsa is 6-2-1. They're second in CONMEBOL standings. They've beaten all of the big three outside of Ecuador, right? Or
yeah,
not the big three,
drew.
but yeah, they drew with Ecuador. Those are the only guys who have been able to stop them, and Ecuador has I think I had them with the second best defense in Copa America.
Second or third. Yeah.
They're fantastic. Then the USA, we've got a bunch of firecrackers on this squad. I mentioned it in one of our videos. These guys have grit, finally. We are a far cry from losing to Trinidad and Tobago. There's a decent amount of talent in this U.S. men's national team squad, and I mean, these guys just want to win. They want to win now. And I'm not saying that they're, world beaters or anything, but they have the attitude now, the screw you, we are who we are, bad guy attitude that you need to succeed at Copa America. You've got to have that. You've got to have the attitude to go up against these guys when Medel tries to pull something on the field or when somebody tries to give you the impromptu prostate exam, right? You've got to have that. And I think Weston McKennie with the torn jersey, Dest getting kicked out for a tantrum against Trinidad and Tobago. Embarrassing though it was, I think that's kind of what you want to see, even though we don't. Dest is questionable. So, Panama, oh, baby. You just want to see better things from them. I've grown a burgeoning love for Panama. Maybe not even love, but a burgeoning interest in them with their player, Coco Carrasquilla. Jack turned me on to him, and I just haven't been able to go back. The dude is fantastic. He's got great hair. I mean, it's like if Ochoa was an attacking midfielder. Dude's fantastic. He seems to single-handedly change the pace of games in a way that you only see for players like Lionel Messi. And I'm not saying he's at that caliber, but he does have that sort of impact when he gets onto the field. He single-handedly drives the pace of this Panamanian side. And then we go down to Bolivia. Bolivia, dude. I mean, I'll read you their record. They're 19, 15, and 24 all-time versus CONCACAF, which is not a great record. Jack stated ass. It's an ass record. They're home merchants. They love playing at home. That altitude serves them well. But when they start breathing that oxygen-rich gas that we have here at sea level, it gets a little rough for them. And that's what they're going to be breathing here in Copa America. It's going to be all away games, and that seems to be their crux. Outside of that, they don't really have a personality outside of winning at home. And the talent pool is not phenomenal. It's not phenomenal. It's mediocre at best. Yeah.
Jack?
They just lost to Mexico's U23s the other day. They were the better side. Mexico did pull out. The Mexican U23s did pull out a 1-0 win in the end. But, I mean, I actually liked a couple guys on Bolivia. Vaca, especially, I think he's playing left wing. A guy named Chavez is out right. Villamil for Liga de Quito didn't even play. But I felt like overall they were actually flowing nicely. But good Lord, like in the final third, some of the worst shots I've ever seen. One of the goats of Bolivian football, Moreno, played as a striker. It's no longer part of the team. And those are massive, massive boots to fill from a Bolivian pool that honestly just doesn't have enough water to fill it. Like, it's going to be a massive problem. After watching the game the other day, I'm convinced they will finish below Panama and they will lose that game because Panama will make them pay. Panama's senior team has a better defense, midfield, and attack than Mexico's U23s, and I just think they're gonna generate volume chances. That's how Panama play. Put away 2 of them because they're not clinical, and they also don't have a striker, and they're gonna win that. But there's still a massive gap between Panama and the United States and Uruguay, and that's why we said in our Group C preview, like, God would have to come down and suit up for Panama to get a draw against the U.S. Like, he'd have to put on the 10. I
He
swear.
would.
Like, it would be unbelievable, and it would be one of the worst results of Greg Berhalter's tenure. At the same time, if he drew a home Copa America game against the Panama side, that the last time they stepped on U.S. soil, they lost 5-1 against the A team. I know they beat them in penalty shootouts of the Gold Cup, but let's be honest, like, Busio was starting center mid for the U.S. that game, so let's not put too much stock in that.
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. has to finish with at least 6 here. They have to beat Bolivia, they have to beat Panama. If you lose to Uruguay, that happens. But yeah, the U.S. has to finish with 6. Man, Bolivia, even looking at their recent record in La Paz in the qualifiers, they've pretty much lost a good number of their games. Not a good team. It's just not a program that's gone anywhere. They made the World Cup in '94, haven't done much since then, so they'll finish last. Like we said, gentlemen, it's going to come down to either the United States and Uruguay. Whoever wins that game on the 1st of July at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. You mentioned Bielsa for Uruguay. I'm going to shout out the Argentinians. Very impressed by the Argentinian managers in the continent who have been going to different countries and setting up, different programs and whatnot. Pretty impressive given, kind of like what they've been able to do in terms of restructuring these different teams. I think you guys hit the nail on the head with Uruguay. Just a disgusting team from back to front. Talent everywhere. I even like their goalie Rocher. I think he's a pretty decent keeper as well. Not the best. I mean, he's not a Muslera, but I think that given the quality in this continent, he's quite good. But
This guy knows his stuff.
Yes,
Rocher is legit. Yeah.
There's one thing I want to bring up that neither of you mentioned. The renewal of Greg Berhalter as USMNT manager. Lots of people hated on it. I mean, I understood why he was renewed. He wasn't my first choice, but looking at this USMNT roster that he called up for the Copas, I know it's he called up 27 guys. He's gonna probably have to cut one. Don't see a lot of like egregious picks besides probably Shaq Moore, but I mean, I feel like there's always a terrible pick in a 26-man roster. What do you guys think?
Yeah, probably Timothy Tillman was the worst inclusion for me, and he probably will be cut. I did a roster reaction to it, and I said, I was like, look, this is pretty much it, man. Like, there's no big howlers here, and we had some screamers from 45 yards out saying, oh my God, this is a travesty. Where's Tanner Testman? Like, that man's about to do anything at this Copa America. I mean, it was embarrassing, some of the comments that we got. I was like, y'all just want to be mad. You just want, the list came out, no matter who was on it, you were just going to be mad. You had decided before you looked. And that's partially because you hate Greg Berhalter, and partially because, I don't know, maybe y'all just negative people out there, okay? To be fair, all the Deadball TV fans I've met in real life, very nice people, but I'm just saying. He's calling up the best possible U.S. squad, barring injuries.
Yeah.
Greg Berhalter is very good at doing exactly what the U.S. should do at tournaments. And when I say that, I mean from a realist point of view. When you talk to U.S. men's national team Twitter, I mean, you just can't, because you're going to get something that's delusional. You're going to be getting a semifinal or a finals appearance. But if you take a step back, you take off the goggles for a second, you say, okay, the United States should probably get to the quarterfinals and then lose against Brazil or Colombia, which will be their opposition. And that's probably what's going to happen. And that's about right. And people will still be mad, and they'll still look at Greg, and they'll say it's all Greg's fault, Greg out, all this stuff. I think there are very few managers that can come in and beat Brazil or Colombia in a Copa America knockout game. Like, that's a big ask for this U.S. men's national team that is still pretty inexperienced. I know they got a World Cup under their belt now, but these boys aren't quite as seasoned as the opposition they're going to be going up against.
Connor, what do you think about this team?
Dude, I said I really like the attitude. Berhalter's not my favorite. I think he puts us in sort of a dead-end position a lot with Berhalter ball, just long balls coming in from the corners, and really tough play style to watch, especially when you're in a pinch, because you just, I mean, just trebucheting balls over the box. And it just feels like a Hail Mary. It's just like we're going for volume here. We do have really good talent. We've got a bunch of guys who are capable of dribbling the ball and making things happen. Whether or not we're able to play as a team is a different conversation. Now, that is one thing that I do like about Greg. I think that the fellas like him. I think that the lads are a fan of having him on the touchline. And I think that if anybody's going to galvanize these guys, he's probably the best shot that we have available, outside of some like Hail Mary coaching, pick up from like Mourinho or something like that. But that's not going to happen, right? We're entirely too conservative. We don't want to splash the cash for that. So I'm really hoping that we can get a really good feel for each other's play styles on the pitch. Like I'm a part of the starting 11 on the pitch. But you know what I mean? I want to see the guys. I mentioned this in the last video about midfields that we did. I want to see the guys pick out passes and estimate where their teammates are going to be. Because any given U.S. men's national team game, you see a couple of errant passes going on where, I thought you were going there, miscommunications. I'm hoping that we get it together and we can get a really good feel and we get a consistent starting 11 where it's not going to be like who's starting at the 9, who's starting on the wing, what's happening. I'm really hoping that we see a next step taken here by the U.S. men's national team, because if we do the same old, we'll do decent, but we won't get to where I want us to.
I want just 2-0, at least a 2-0, 3-0 wins against Bolivia and Panama. I want to see bigger margins. Maybe it's a little greedy for me, but I want to see more coherent attacking play and that leading to something. But win's a win. All right, guys. I mean, this one might be the most straightforward group. I'll go first in terms of the rankings. I got Uruguay at first, United States at 2, Panama at 3, and Bolivia at 4. I'm guessing you guys are going to have similar predictions for that.
Exact same.
Same.
Yeah, there we go.
Maybe there is no parity in this group.
No parity.
This group sucks.
Actually, I'm going to take back what I said. It's probably not the most interesting group, but the USA-Uruguay game is going to be a banger for sure. But moving on to Group D, the last group, we're here. Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, and Costa Rica. Oh, that is going to be fire, I think.
Well, we have Bolivia. We have Brazil. Thank God Bolivia are not in this group. I mean, not that it would worsen their chances. They're finished either way. We have Brazil, who are pretty much starting a new era. They called up a very inexperienced squad to this Copa America under their new manager, Junior. So they're a massive wild card. Of course, they're still a top 4 favorite for this tournament, but it's very difficult to peg them 1, 2, 3, or 4. And again, I think this next friendly window where they're going to play Mexico and the United States, I think that's going to answer at least some of our questions in terms of play style. We've only seen them play Spain and England. Got a very impressive win in Wembley Stadium in the last friendly window, but I still want to see more. It's tough to draw conclusions from 2 games. Then you have Colombia, who I believe have the longest winning streak or unbeaten streak in international football. I have them as legit favorites for the Copa America. I think that they will probably make the final. That's kind of like one of my bullish, super hot takes about this whole thing. Paraguay, who are historically the most annoying team to play in CONMEBOL. They want to keep everything close. They don't open up. They don't take risks. They're the definition of pragmatic. Jose Mourinho at Paraguay would be unstoppable. They want everything to be a 0-0 penalty shootout. That's what they're going to try to do. They're much more dangerous in knockout football, in my opinion, because of how the team is set up than the group stage. I think they lack the firepower to get it done. and I just think they'll probably end up losing a lot of these games 1-0. And then you have Costa Rica, who shouldn't even be here. But they have Gustavo Alfaro, who was the manager of Ecuador last Copa America. So they have a Copa America experienced manager. They have a stupid amount of young attacking talent. Like, it's a very exciting, very, very exciting team. I want to see where Los Ticos are in 2026. I think they're going to be in a much better spot. Guys like Alcocer, Ugalde, Madrigal. It's just a little too soon right now for them, and that defense is trash, baby. Like, they're gonna be leaking goals, dude. It's gonna be a lot. I mean, shout out to Francisco Calvo, because he's gonna have to be doing everything by himself. No more Keylor Navas. I think Chamorra is gonna be the starting goalkeeper. Just expect Costa Rica to lose at least one of these games by 3 goals. But then in typical Ticos fashion, they're gonna somehow like draw Colombia or beat Paraguay or something absolutely insane. Because these boys, they got dogs in them. Every single player.
I completely agree. The team that I'm probably in the least versed on is Costa Rica, but I did know that they had a little bit of a bright spot there with the young fellas up top. I didn't know it was to that caliber, but yeah, Brazil's interesting, man. I've been withholding a lot of my opinions about Brazil. I'm Argentine, so I love to hate the Brazilians, but it's not fun to see them down either, you know? It kind of takes the fun out of it when we play them, and it's a good game, you know? So I'm really, really pressed to give a good analysis about Brazil, being that we haven't seen much. I do love that we went to Wembley and we got a dub. And I say we, meaning South America. That's like, you know, we all hate each other until we play the Europeans, and then it's South America versus the world, you know? So I really love that. Colombia, again, I'm riding that hype train with Jack. I think I'm pretty bullish that they are one of the finalists of the Copa America. Paraguay, one of the teams that I would consistently see in World Cup qualifying. Whenever I asked my dad on his opinions on the subject, his only response would be, ojo con Paraguay, just like that, which means keep your eye on Paraguay, meaning that you have no idea what they're going to do. They're going to show up and they're going to ruin your day, potentially. They love it. They love to play that pragmatic ball, and they will not go quietly into that cold, dark night. So, how much will that serve them here? I don't know, because Brazil is still Brazil. Even a down bad Brazil is still one of the best teams in the world, and they have the best footballing pedigree in the history of the sport. And they're the reason we call it the beautiful game. Everything that we love to hear about football, even like from like play styles and like excitement to hype tape and skill videos to the FIFA soundtracks, we have Brazil to thank. They are the pioneers, the forerunners in football, and just they're down bad, but nobody be surprised if they come back. Nobody be surprised if they make it all the way to the final and they beat Argentina the same way that we beat them last year, 1-0.
No, yeah, like I was down on Brazil until, it's probably recency bias, but until their trip to Europe. I know he's 17, but dude, Endrick looks like the second coming. I think he's probably gonna start for Brazil because Neymar is obviously not going to be at this tournament. This Brazil team, I think, is going to be energized, especially after the results they got in Wembley and in Madrid. I mean, they did well to tie the Spanish in the capital, and the Colombians, man, just dogs, like just dogs. A research, just like pit bulls, you know. Just, I mean, they were terrible in the 2022 qualifiers. They almost made it. They didn't make it. Now they're back. This group is going to be a bloodbath, I think, especially that Brazil-Colombia game. Like you said, the Paraguayans, I've seen them live in Seoul before. Just, they won't always qualify for a World Cup, but they're always going to annoy the shit out of you, and they're not going to be an easy out. Costa Rica, like you said, a wealth of attacking young talent. You and I, Jack, saw it a few years ago in near Seoul when they played us in a friendly. So this is going to be one of those groups, again, that's going to be tough to call, I think, in terms of maybe who finishes 3-4. I think the top two, I think we'll know. But I mean, guys, in terms of predictions, I feel like it would be sacrilegious to put Colombia at 1, traditionally speaking, but it could happen in this tournament, right? I mean, I'll go first then, because I'll let you. I want to hear what you guys think for this group. I'm gonna stay respectful of the Brazilians just because of what I saw in Europe. I'll have them finishing 1, assuming that Endrick and Vinny and Rodrigo go off. Colombia at 2, a very close 2. I'll go Paraguay at 3 and then Costa Rica at 4, just because I think Costa Rica will probably leak too many goals in this group.
I'm gonna switch Colombia. I got them.
I think you hit the nail right
but
on
the
the
rest
head.
of my group is the same.
Yeah, you got them 1.
Yeah,
I'm the
taking
exact same as
Colombia
Jack.
1.
I'm the exact same as Jack.
We're all going
and
Brazil 1. Yeah.
No, I got
No,
Colombia 1.
I'm going. Yeah, we got Colombia 1.
Wow.
We got it. We put the hater hats on, and it's happening.
It is happening.
Listen, they did, like you said, they did well to go to Spain and get that tie. If you hear Jack's thoughts on it, the Spanish got a few really generous calls, according to him. You know,
there wasn't a penalty. One of those at least was not a penalty. I agree. Yeah.
Soft fans, yeah.
And you have to say they are friendlies. People have been clowning me for that. I still rate European versus South American friendlies. I don't think you could take a day off for those. But, dude, the Colombians are hot. They are on fire. And like you said, that game is going to be one of the games of the tournament. Colombia-Brazil. It's going to be all-out team football versus the beautiful game. And we'll see how it manifests. I think the objective is going to be pick on Endrick and Vinicius and sort of just play cohesive team ball outside of that for the Colombians. And they can do it. They can do it. They're not afraid of anybody. They've already got a dub against Brazil in qualifying. And they're ready. I think they're ready to get that chip on their shoulder off because, I mean, yeah, Argentina kind of led them. The rise of Emi Martinez literally happened in that game that we eliminated Colombia. They fell into abject irrelevance, right? And I had kind of written them off. I was like, I really don't see an end in sight. I don't know if I did not see them to the extent that I saw Peru, right? But I mean, their turnaround has been probably the greatest in world football in recent memory.
1,000%.
Like, I would be so hard pressed to find another team that has mustered such a renaissance in their play styles. I mean, it's fantastic. Like, they're showing up. Yermina's not in the squad, and their defense is still excellent. They're pragmatic. They know how to navigate and keep up with the tempo of the game, and they're no strangers at all to Copa America, obviously. So I think that'll serve them really well. Yeah. I've got them, and I want them to get the edge over Brazil.
I feel like Colombia is starving for respect after they didn't qualify for the last World Cup. Important to note, Mina is in the squad. He's just not a starter.
Oh, he is?
Colombia. Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
He's gonna be included.
I have zero ball knowledge. Sorry, gentlemen.
No, I'm just trying to protect you because I know that one Colombian fan is gonna be down there.
You're like, you hate Colombia. Like, no, actually, I have him out first.
Nah, dude, I'm trying to get a Colombia kit. I mean, I already have the training kit, but I would love to get one of their Copa ones.
That orange one's growing on me.
They're just a very complete team.
Yeah.
Very, Connor described them as Mario in like Mario Kart. Like, they're just like good at everything, not bad at anything, but also not phenomenal. Like, could they lay a goose egg of like the top 4 favorites? Who is like the most likely to just like crap the bed? You might also have to say Colombia's first, as opposed, in comparison to Uruguay, Brazil, and Argentina, just because they aren't exceptionally amazing in anything. So they could have a bad day against Paraguay, and they might start the tournament with 2-0-0s, and then they're looking at that Costa Rica game, and they're like, well, shit, we got to win by 3 to go through, and this is not a very high scoring team. That being said, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Lorenzo has them very, very well drilled. And, I mean, they battled back down against Brazil in World Cup qualifiers. Like, these guys just aren't scared of anything anymore. And that's why I'm so bullish on them. And the composition's great. They're good.
All right, guys, we reached that point where we're going to pick our winners who is taking this trophy home? I think it's a pretty big trophy. Last time I saw Messi holding it, it's going to be the same one that he was holding,
Massive.
right? The massive
It's
one,
nice.
right?
It's a nice trophy.
To me, it's going to come down to how motivated Messi is to win this again. I know people have different opinions about him going to Miami. I think it's great for American football. I do also think he's kind of on vacation there partially. I'm not saying he's not trying, but I think there is something to be said about him, saving himself for certain matches, which is fine given his age. But I would pick Argentina to win this if Messi didn't have this trophy in his cabinet already. Since you guys are the guests, I'll let you guys go first. But who do you think is taking this home? And who also do you think will be a sneaky pick to win as well, if you want to share that?
My sneaky pick is Colombia.
Mm-hmm. But
My
who do you think's
actual
going to
winner,
win?
I think, is Argentina.
Mm.
I'd have
The
to
team is
say,
just good, man.
yeah. In every facet of the pitch, and I'm a notorious Argentina hater when it comes to this, but our recent success, I don't like speaking it into existence. I feel like I'm jinxing us. But if you look at it on paper and in practice, it's a complete team, the exact same way that Colombia is. We have more depth. We've got superstars at every aspect of the pitch. Not only do we have superstars, they know how to play as a team. So in addition to having just phenomenal talent, these guys do everything that I want to see the U.S. men's national team do. I mean, you see it from that one pass that led to Angel Di Maria's goal, the opening goal in the World Cup final. Messi had that one little pass, that outlet. They don't even have to look at each other, right? He just knows Di Maria is coming up the pitch, and McAllister with a beautiful, beautiful curved pass out there. Straight to Di Maria's feet. Boom, finish over Lloris. I think we're probably going to see more than that. Now, we're probably going to lay a stinker, just as is Argentine tradition. It's going to be a couple games where we look shaky, but the second it turns into knockout football, I'm totally ready for us to turn into Chile. I'm ready. I want to be the bad guys because that's how we win these tournaments.
Man, both of you went for Argentina, which is, I mean, looking from top to bottom, they're still the world champions. God, but I'm gonna say, Bielsa's gonna do it. He gon' get a trophy.
It's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick. If Uruguay are hot at this Copa, they will be pretty much unbeatable by everybody except Argentina, who they already beat.
And the main reason I'm saying this is not because I think the Uruguayans have a better team. Part of it is because, I don't want to say, oh, all three of us have the same championship pick. Yes, my head would lean toward Argentina, but I'm thinking just something about this tournament's going to be weird, wacky. The fact that Messi's already won something in this competition. But I will say, if Messi wins, or if Argentina win this tournament, I know you guys talked about this in a previous video. Yeah, they are in the conversation now for greatest national team of all time. I know Connor hates this conversation, but Jack, don't you agree? If they win another Copa, they're up there.
They have to be up there. Dude, we got so much hate on that video. I think that was like the most hate I've ever seen of anything we ever posted. And like the disrespect for Argentina in the comments was unbelievable. People were saying like they're not even top 20. They wouldn't even be top 10. I just, like, what do y'all want, man? If they win another Copa America, the only thing you can say about this Copa if they win is that it's hosted in North America, which is a little weird. But guess who won't give a shit that it's hosted in North America? The Uruguayans if they win it, or the Colombians. Or you think the Brazilian fans are going to put a big asterisk next to it because the finals at MetLife or SoFi, or whatever the hell it is? Of course not. No one gives a shit. So why are we going to use that as a negative if Argentina wins? And, man, a Copa America, then a World Cup, then a Copa America.
And a
what are you gonna say?
Yeah,
that one.
That one.
Well,
it still counts.
It was against Italy. It was a great game. Counts.
Italy could be group at the Euro.
Yes.
My
not
point
at the
is,
last Euro.
Not at the last Euro, but y'all didn't play immediately after the last Euro. There was a little bit of time in between those. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to stick up for you right now. Yes, they would be top 5 cemented. If you want to have them 5, sure. I think the Italians 2006, Brazil, Spain, the Germans probably have teams that are up there. If you want to have Argentina 5, that's fine. But to say they'd be like 15th or something is disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for me, no, Connor, go ahead. Go.
Dude, I'm of the same mind, and I really didn't like saying that, but and what I will say is that I watched I think it was like a TikTok or something where they did player by player what each like who would you pick if you did this Argentina squad versus Spain squad, which is, by and far recognized by a lot of people as the best squad of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you go individually, there's only one Argentine that makes the cut, and that is obviously Nicolas Otamendi. No, it's Lionel Messi, right? It's Messi, but what we've done is fantastic. I mean, the unbeaten streak that we had going into the World Cup, the Copa America, before that was insane. You can even go back to no, I wouldn't go back that far, but just what we've done in terms of achievement is unreal. It's unprecedented, and yeah, even in like individual matchups, like we've got Brazil's number, which is we're very hard pressed to find any sort of stability in matches against Brazil. But the fact that we've beaten them 2 times in a row is insane.
Mhm.
It's nothing short of unexpected, in my opinion. At least, accustomed, to what I'm accustomed to seeing.
I think a large part of the hate that Argentina get too is because during that World Cup final run, yes, you got a lot of penalties. Yes, you took some teams to extra time, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You find the ways to get it done in a tournament. It takes some luck. And I'm not saying I think this Argentina team is better than Spain. I do think that Spanish team from 2008 to 2012 is probably the best of all time. But like Jack said, it still puts Argentina in that discussion, right? You have MJ, everyone knows he's the GOAT, and you have LeBron, but you can talk about guys like Kobe, guys like, Kareem, Shaq. You're not saying they are the best, but they're in that general, like, that vicinity, I guess you could say. And I think that Argentina is disrespected just because a lot of people see Messi and they say, okay, it's just him and the team playing for him. But you look through this team, it's like, no, this team is actually very solid. They play for one another. They have a manager that they respect in Scaloni. So, yeah, they have to be in that conversation. I think otherwise would just be pure hate. I know you guys have a big, big summer lined up. Jack, Connor, what's the plan for Deadball TV? Not even like next month. It's coming in a few weeks. What are you guys going to do for the Copa and Euros?
What we're not going to do is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
What we are going to do is live streams for every single Copa America game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, y'all, we're going deep. We're going neck deep.
We're going
at
in.
the Copa
We're
America.
going to see Connor have more heart attacks. Yes.
Yes, dude.
Oh,
they're
dude,
going to be abundant.
It's gonna be crazy. Like
It's gonna be insane.
Dude, the Asian Cup was such a disappointment for me, and I already know the Copa is gonna somehow do the same thing, and it's all gonna be documented for the world to see. But I mean, that's what we're gonna do. We still have videos leading up to the Copa America. We have a ridiculous amount of like preview coverage leading up to it. We've gone over all the groups. We're now ranking the defenses, midfields, and attacks, like Connor mentioned earlier. We're gonna do like a final like Copa America prediction video after this last round of friendlies is done. So we still have stuff coming out about that. And then you have the streams, the match reactions, everything. We might even do a Copa America bracket challenge. I mean, dude, we're putting in a shift to cover this tournament because that's what it deserves, quite frankly.
Yeah, guys, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna link Jack and Connor's socials to this video. I'll also link the official Deadball TV Twitter and their channel. They do a lot of great work. Live streams are going to be amazing. I'm sure Jack and Connor will have probably a diverse number of guests on depending on the opponent, but it's going to be a great tournament, guys. Hopefully we can collab again soon for another video, but in the meantime, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Gentlemen, thank you so much for jumping on. Best of luck to the Mexicans and the Argentinians in this tournament. Can't wait to see what happens. Until then, guys, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.